Hey everybody, Mark Newstater with eXp Realty. Thursday, May the 6th. May already. I cannot believe it. Jaden, what is going on with you this week?
Yeah, I'm just trying to survive this wind out on the farm here, and it's my sister's birthday in the middle of a pandemic. So shout out to her. I'm not sure what she's up to today, but I'm not. I don't think it's probably the most exciting birthday in her life.
Yeah, yeah, that is definitely what's going on. It's very windy day. I was all the way down in Okotoks and commiserating with the client who actually has possession on the sale of their place in Oak Ridge today, but they had already moved down to Okotoks. And I said, well, if it's any consolation, it's just as windy in Calgary as it is on your acreage. So anyway, windy day and some interesting news from a stats perspective. So let's take a look first of all at this weekly update here for stats, and then we're going to throw up the April stats. And I'm just going to preface something here. Well, we'll do that when we get to the April stats. So I'll leave it for that. But what I'm seeing here, which is interesting, is we were seeing a bit of a downward trend for sold listings. So if we look back 4 weeks ago, everything okay, Jaden? All good?
Yep, looks good.
Oh, we're losing them. Yep. So yeah, so if we look back to April 8th to 15th, we had a total high of 556 sales, and we've actually been decreasing every week since then. Now, having said that, our new listings this week at 505 and plus the pendings, we're still well above new listings, but we are seeing a bit of a trend here. 556 down to 476. And the new listings is where you couldn't really say it's necessarily a trend because we had 621 new listings, but we're now down to 505. We were up to 568. So certainly from a sales perspective, we're seeing just a bit of a downward trend here over the last 4 weeks. A big chunk of expireds this week as well. Our total detached listings actually though went down from last week, as did obviously then our total listings. So yeah, just a bit of a downward trend for the last few weeks here. But when you throw, which I will do here in a second, when we throw the April stats up on the screen, give me 1 second. Technology. All right. So when we throw our April stats up on the screen here, I mean, these are huge, right? We had huge stats in April. Now you're going to say, Mark, why the heck? I mean, why the heck are you comparing 2019 to 2021? Well, if you remember a year ago, Jaden, we were all sitting in our houses going, what is going on? How are we going to get through this? So our sales would poof. I mean, I don't know if you heard the little, there we go. Our sales at the floor, kind of from March, it wasn't as affected. So if I compared April 2020 to April 2021, you'd be going, wow, those are amazing. If you just woken up after a 5-year coma and didn't realize that we've had COVID for the last year and a bit now. So the stats are sure they're relevant because there was like a 300 or 400% increase in sales. But again, let's be last year was not a realistic April, right? So yeah, thanks Rob. Love the sound effects. So we're going to compare it to 2019 because that's actually what the Calgary Real Estate Board did for us. So from April 2019, we're up 120% in sales. Listings were down 27% in terms of active listings. New listings were up 55%. So that kind of gives you an idea. But our pending sales were up even from April 2019, a massive amount, which was 335%. But here's what I really want everybody to focus on. This tells you what's going on in the market right here. Days on market at 25. 25 days on market. Now, these are detached stats. 25 days. So, again, remember, there's often a 10 to 14 day period of conditions. So, you're talking about getting an offer within the first week to 2 weeks that you're on the market, and so many homes are selling in a day or even less on the first day. So that's down 47% from April 2019. This is big. Our detached benchmark price up 11% from April 2019. That's huge, right? So if you have a $500,000 house, there's 50 grand. Thank you very much. Interestingly, in my neighborhood in Woodbine, we had a 15.9% increase in our benchmark prices in April from the year prior. But so, I mean, that's what I really want to focus on. Days on market. We're in a seller's market because there's a very short supply of inventory. And then overall sales were up 108% from April 2019. 108%. Active listings down 16%. And again, these are overall, so that includes detached, apartment, duplex, condos, everything. And then our average days on market, check that out. Even for that will include apartment condos, which are traditionally like turtles. The average days on market went from 54 in April 2019 down to 33 in April 2021. So again, if we're comparing, we got more of an apples to apples comparison here with our 2019 numbers, and they are very, very, very good. If you're a seller. But again, keep in mind we're just bumping up now to 2014 pricing. I think there's some areas of the city that are probably back, and there's others that are still catching up. 2014 was a high market. 2007 was a high market. So gives you some perspective, some context. So if you're interested in finding out what this means if you were to sell your home today, reach out. Even if you want to talk to Jaden about a refinance, I would think, Jaden, this would help for refinancing as well, right?
Yeah, big time. It's and the nice thing is that we've seen the comparables now, right? Like we've seen enough of the market. There's, we're not comparing to things from 3 months, 6 months ago anymore. We're comparing to comparable sales within a month. There's been enough movement, and that helps big time. And yeah, it's honestly like if you're in a situation where you don't know, maybe you only need 20,000 out of your house, and your penalty isn't too high to break, and there might be a little bit of extra wiggle room there to pay off that vehicle, so you're not making that vehicle payment anymore. Pay down those credit cards, lines of credit, all those kinds of things. Just wrapping it all up in one super low interest rate payment, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So overall, I mean, again, keep in mind 11% up from April 2019 for our benchmark prices. Overall sales up 108%, but average days on market at 33, actually 25 if you've got a detached home. And I can tell you from personal experience, it's probably a lot lower than that in practicality. Once you get up into the 800, 900,000, a million plus, that's what's bringing those average days on market up, actually, because a lot of them are staying on the market longer than homes that are 500, 600, 400,000. So overall very positive momentum again in April. So that's my side of things. Over to you, Jaden. What do you got for us this week?
Yeah, I think I'm going to bring it back to working with somebody you trust, and the importance of the relationship that Mark and I have, and that we have with other partners out there. And just going to tell you a little bit of the story of something that I'm seeing happen right now. I had another great realtor friend of mine send me a referral for a buddy of his, and I looked at what he was trying to do, and I said, listen, in my world, this isn't possible to do, right? He had put an offer in on a house. He'd been looking for a house for a year and a half, put an offer in on a house before he had sold his own home. And in my world, if until you have a firm sale on your house, I can't use anything from that as a down payment for the next house. And so he happened to be a big bank client, and so I said, this is what I think you should do. Go in and talk to the people at the bank. You've been paying them for X number of years. They know you're a good client. You have a lot of your assets there. They might be able to find a way to just kind of bridge the gap without a firm sale. So he did that, and was told, yeah, no, you're good. You can go ahead and waive conditions. We're ready to buy this next house, and then we'll just work everything out when you sell your current home, which it's going to happen quickly. He's in a great community. And then he got a call from the bank today saying, so what are you going to do for that $130,000 we need for down payment? And he said, what? He said, what? And so, his preference was to work with me. In this case, it didn't work out. But it's the difference between working with an entrepreneur and an employee, right? I have a vested
Hmm.
interest in making sure that I'm giving you the best, incredible service that I can every single time that we interact, right?
Yeah.
And it just seems like an innocent mistake, but now they're scrambling 10 days till possession, trying to figure out how to make this deal work because they're in a firm contract. So
Hmm.
the people I understand this idea of I've been with one of the banks for 20 years and all of these
Yeah.
kinds of things, and but I think there's something to be said for working with somebody like myself, like Mark, that has your back specifically.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we had a client, inquire. She's been trying to buy a home probably for what, 2 years now, better part of 2 years,
Yeah.
and has hit some unfortunate financial times. But she inquired to me about this property that hit the market in Cranston. Looks like a great deal, but it's a judicial sale, so it's a court-ordered sale. So it goes from foreclosure, and then they get time to make up payments where it would be bank owned at some point, and then it gets to the actual court proceeding, and that's where you can't have conditions on that offer, things like that. So we said, hey, you know what, sorry, it's not a great house for you to even go look at because you can't have any conditions and you need a financing condition if nothing else. Another client, it gets sent out to her as part of what I send to my clients with new listings. They wanted to go look at it, and I said, whoa, pump the brakes, are you able to buy this house for cash? And they said, well, no, we need a mortgage. I said, can't buy this house. So I mean, that may seem something very simple, but the last thing we want to do as your mortgage broker and as your real estate agent is put you in a situation that you can't get out of, that's going to harm you financially. We don't want to do that. We'd rather you wait and get the right home that's right for you, with to be able to have conditions. And that's part of the challenge of the market right now, is there are certain properties where they're saying, yeah, we'll accept your offer, we just don't want any conditions, right? So take your time. It's still okay to take your time. There's going to be other houses that hit the market. Don't rush. As much as it might feel like a rush out there right now, make smart decisions, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I think I've said it time and again. The interest rates are low, but you're still buying a multi-$100,000 property. That's a big
Yeah.
investment to be making a snap decision because of these interest rates, right? So there's a lot of other
Yeah.
things that go into that buying decision.
Yeah, so many things factor into it, and I'll just I'll pump your tires, Jaden, for those pre-approvals. Again, I can't stress that enough. There are many multiple offer situations, and I've been part of them in the last month or two here, where if I'm on the buying side and my buyer client isn't pre-approved, it harms you big time. Get your pre-approval done and get an actual letter. Jaden can provide that for you. I was able to get that from him on a pretty short notice, because a lot of sellers are asking for pre-approval letters, because that's the challenge of the market too, is that there's lots of offers, but who's actually qualified? So go ahead, get that information into Jaden, get pre-approved, and then it's such an easier process for you in the long run. So that's about all I got. That's almost 14 minutes now. So I guess I had a bit. Jaden, thanks for the great info as always. And for any questions, reach out to us here on Facebook, and we'll be happy to answer your questions about how this big jump in prices will help you as a homeowner if you're wanting to sell. Jaden, you have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, sounds good, buddy. You too.